Hello there, I'm Andre, studio artist here at GamersGrass. Like you, I am a hobbyist, and I was looking over at the display shelf at some models I've painted some time ago. They have just been sitting there on the shelf, and I started wondering, maybe it's about time I give them some proper bases. As you can see, they got the paint, but they are not ready to be called done just yet. I wanted to find a look that fit the vibe of the models, and for that, this jungle floor basing box is perfect. It's about making them look like they belong in the real environment, not just plastic bases. They've been sitting on a shelf for so long that the white bases have basically become their natural habitat. It's probably time to change that. These jungle floor bases suit the models really well, as they recreate the lush, dense jungle atmosphere. But enough talk, let's get started. First, we'll take care of the texture. Just apply some texture paste to the bases. Spread it out in an even coat. This will help everything stick later on. And clean the edges as you go. Before it fully dries, grab some gnarled branch basing bits. I like using these as fallen trees and little branches. Put some superglue onto a tile. Dip the branches into it. Then press them into the texture so they sink in slightly. Honestly, you don't need to do much here, since most of it will be covered by tufts and plants anyway. And that's it for the texture stage. You can definitely take it further, but this is where I stop. It's easy to get stuck trying to make the ground texture look perfect at the start, but in a dense jungle, the ground is just a foundation for what you're about to build on top. As long as it's brown and messy, the plants will do the rest of the work for us. So, we're gonna keep the colors and texture work simple and let the plants and tufts do the heavy lifting. Prime the bases in a dark brown color. It just makes everything easier. Once the primer is dry, grab an off-white color and apply a couple coats to create a strong coverage. Next, a brown wash over the gnarled branches to bring out the shadows. And afterwards, Drybrush. Use a leather brown color to lightly dry brush the ground texture. And the original color to highlight the branches and bring out the raised details. Now for a fun bit of painting. We will create some lichens on the branches using a mix of colors. Stipple in an orange to start with, keeping the paint fairly thick. Create a few small patches of this color. Then move on to a yellow. You can even stipple over some of the orange. And then a lighter yellow to finish it off. I really like this stippling effect because it acts as a visual bridge for the whole base. It's what connects the deadwood to the living greens we're about to add. Without these little patches, they look like plain sticks, but with them they look like they've been sitting in the rain for years. The only thing missing now is painting the edges of the bases black. If you have any bits at the edge of the bases, you can paint those black too. This helps achieve a seamless look. We don't need much more here, since it will all be covered by tufts next. Now that the foundation is painted, it looks okay, but it's still very empty. Usually this is where it gets overwhelming because there are so many greens to choose from. Instead of throwing everything at it, I find it's easier to treat it like we are building a house, starting with the bigger anchors and working our way down to the fine details. Starting off with the bigger tufts, the Jungle XL. These represent overgrown tropical vegetation, like tallweeds or jungle undergrowth. They are great for showing that an area hasn't been walked through in a long time. These tufts are handy as anchors for other tufts. So, because of their size, we want to be careful with how many we use. Maybe one on smaller bases and a couple of clusters on larger ones. Using different heights stops the base from looking flat. Now I have something new and exciting here. These were made specifically for this theme, the Jungle 6mm tufts. Push these tufts around and against the XL tufts to start with, and then scatter a few across the base on bigger bases. This size works well as a bridge between the XL tufts and the moss 2mm, creating a smooth gradient from the largest down to the smallest tuft. The strong green tuft adds a darker tone to improve contrast. It gives the look of healthy, fast-growing grass, like after it rains. Keep adding these against the tufts you've placed before, and a few on their own, to avoid everything clumping together. Now for the green 4mm tufts. They act like a buffer between dirt and tall grass, so the base doesn't jump straight from flat to jungle. In nature, most grass you notice is mid-height. This sits right in that range. The moss 2mm fills empty spaces without making the base look too busy. It helps the eye move naturally from those tall weeds down to the moss crawling across the floor. This is why we didn't need much texture work earlier. Finally, the tiny golden tufts. They go on the branches to enhance the lichens we've painted before. Don't add too many, or you will cover all the paintwork done previously. The ground is looking full now, but to really sell that jungle atmosphere, we need that final bit of verticality. I've got these 4 different sheets of laser plants, each with their own different shape and size. Before I glue anything down, I like to take my time and fold a few leaves to give them some life. At this point, you can also use a model to check the placement on the bases. It's like building a 3D puzzle. I'm planning the layout to make sure they fit together and don't take from the work we've done before. Since we are just testing where to place it, don't glue the plants or the models just yet. Adding these laser plants is that final layer that really captures the dense, overgrown feeling I was looking for. If you want to see how to fold them,
you can check our YouTube channel for the full videos on how to bend and shape the laser plants.
Starting with the banana tree laser plants. Since these are the largest plants, I've used them to first organize the space on the bases. Not every base needs all the plants. On smaller ones, 1 or 2 is usually enough. Next are the Monstera laser plants. Glue some close to the banana trees and others on their own on different bases. In nature, the splits and holes in Monstera leaves help wind pass through so they don't tear in tropical storms. They also let light reach the plants below. Monsteras evolved to grow under jungle canopies, so their large leaves help them catch as much light as possible. The deer fern laser plants are next. We use them to continue the height gradient. Deer fern grows naturally in damp shaded jungles, often near streams and mossy ground. It's one of those plants that makes the scene feel old and undisturbed. Finally, the plantain lily laser plants. Plantain lilies grow in layered fans of leaves, which naturally frame whatever sits above them. Smaller insects and plants usually gather under leaves like this. It helps sell the idea of a busy jungle floor, full of sheltered spaces. And that's it, from empty plastic to something that feels like a place. It feels good to see these guys finished, instead of just another half-done project. It's nice to get these ready for the gaming table. They are at a point where I'm happy to show them off and get them into a battle. If you got some models that have just been sitting around for a while, I'd say just give it a try yourself. You might be surprised with how much it changes the look of the project, once you pick a direction and start building. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next time.